Hey there. Thanks for stopping by today. I want to talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough airtime. How to protect your own peace in a relationship where you're supposed to be the understanding one, the patient one, the one who just keeps showing up even when it costs you something. Today's reflection comes from a question someone asked me, someone who's been wrestling with this exact thing. I've changed the details to protect their privacy, but the heart of it, you might recognize it immediately. She told me about her older sister, the kind of presence that fills a room and not always in a good way. Sharp comments, a certain energy that makes everyone a little tense. And when her sister visits, she notices something happening in her own body. Chest tight, thoughts quiet, words stuck. This isn't new. Growing up, every disagreement ended the same way. Her sister won, and she learned that speaking up meant getting shut down, so she stopped trying. Now, decades later, she's caught between two impossible feelings. Part of her just wants space, distance, maybe even a different city, somewhere she can finally exhale. But another part of her feels terrible about that. Because her sister does care. She helps out. She wants connection. So the question lands like this: if I pull away, I'm the bad guy. If I stay close, I lose myself. What am I even supposed to do? At some point, she tried reframing things. Instead of asking, why does she do this to me? She started wondering, what's going on for her? And suddenly her sister looked different. Not just harsh, but maybe lonely. Someone who struggles with real friendships. Someone whose intensity might actually be a way of reaching out, however clumsily. And you know what? That shift helped. When she thought, she's not attacking me. She's just overwhelmed. Her body relaxed. The interaction felt less personal, less crushing. This is genuinely valuable. Empathy can interrupt old patterns. It can turn down the emotional volume. But, and this is important, it's not the whole answer. Because here's what can happen. Empathy without boundaries doesn't create balance. It just makes the imbalance quieter. One person still gets to release their frustration. The other person still absorbs it. The roles haven't changed, they've just been explained away. And over time, that understanding starts to feel less like peace and more like disappearing. You're still tired. You're still bracing yourself before every visit. You're still pretending you're fine when you're not. So the question isn't really, how do I understand her better? It's this, how do I stay kind without erasing myself in the process? Here's what I've seen work, not as a rule for everyone, but as something worth considering for yourself. First, keep the empathy on the inside. You can still think, her behavior isn't really about me. She's dealing with her own stuff. That awareness can help you stay grounded. It can keep you from spiraling into self-blame. Second, add boundaries on the outside. You don't have to explain them. You don't have to justify them. You're allowed to end a phone call when the tone shifts. Leave a room without a dissertation on why. Not engage when someone's being disrespectful. Boundaries aren't punishments. They're just limits. The edge of what you're available for. Third, redefine what success looks like. It's not, did we avoid conflict? It's, did I leave that conversation feeling okay about myself? Because peace that requires you to shrink isn't peace. It's something else entirely. And here's the thing, this isn't advice to give other people. If you try to tell your sister or your mom or a friend, you need boundaries, that might just create more conflict. This is for you to consider, for your own choices, not something to impose on anyone else's situation. So if you've been the understanding one for a long time, the one who doesn't take things personally, the one everyone knows they can count on, let me just say this. You're allowed to be compassionate and unavailable. You're allowed to understand someone and not give them unlimited access to you. You're allowed to love people without carrying what they won't carry themselves. Sometimes the most important shift isn't changing the other person. It's changing how much of yourself you're willing to lose in the process. Thanks for being here. If this hit home, just know you're not the only one figuring this out. Quick note, everything I share here is just my perspective, based on things I've observed and conversations I've had. It's not therapy, it's not medical advice, And it's definitely not a substitute for working with a licensed professional if that's something you need. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And please, don't use this as a prescription for anyone else's life. What works for one person might backfire completely in another situation.